Hey guys, Joe here from Charting Star. It's Friday afternoon, the 3rd of Feb, and the chaos week is about to end. The NFP data, that was the last major event for volatility, just came out, and it's much better than expected. So that tells us that Jerry was lying on his speech on Wednesday once again. And he didn't really say much, and that actually triggered the market to rally like crazy on Wednesday afternoon into Thursday. And the funny thing is that the European Central Bank, Ms. Lagarde, actually said exactly opposite. They want to keep on their plan with the rate hikes into March, and then they wait and want to have a look at the data how they will continue. And earnings, they were kind of mixed up. The big three, Alphabet, Amazon, and Apple, they kind of missed all their expectations and they sold off after closing yesterday. And the funny thing is, Apple is already 2% up after being 5% down today. So it's basically the same thing what happened to Microsoft. They went up straight after earning release, then they sold off after the guidance came out at midnight, and then the day after they were rallying as well. So that's about all the facts and data which came out. And one more thing, I'll be on vacation from next Tuesday on. And I'm going to the Philippines, and it's going to be a place where I won't have any Wi-Fi or anything similar related to a computer. So if you don't hear anything from my side, hopefully I'm okay, and I'll be back by the end of the month. But let's hop into the charts. And because I hit so many targets this week, I would like to start off with this one here. It's so-called descending broadening wedge. I was posting that on, I can't remember, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, and that's when I was showing that the first time, and that was yesterday, just after opening. As you can see, we made our third touch here on that trend line, and then we fired straight up into that 100% target at 15,384. And on this cash chart, it's a 15-minute time frame. You have another two descending broadening wedges, the one in blue and the one in red. The blue one I was posting somewhere here when we made that kiss on that upper trend line. It got reconfirmed here once again, and then DAX came down one more time to reconfirm that trend line. I was posting actually that on Twitter and said I'm going along here as long as this green zone is holding, and DAX is not diving through that. And the result was, and yesterday, as you can see, we gapped up and took off straight away to hit that 100% target of that red wedge at 15,305, and then we kept going the entire session. And we had like another two triangles which actually worked out quite well as well. This is my cash chart with all the levels I give you usually every day. It's a 1 hour time frame, and as you can see, that symmetrical triangle, I had a different one before, but this one ended up much more being symmetrical, and the targets were then readjusted. These were the old ones. And let me check. This is, as you can see, the 100% target was at 15,520, and we hit that on the dot yesterday in the cash session. So that worked out very, very well. And we had the same triangle on my future chart as well. This is a 4 hour time frame, and I kept saying there's a possibility that this wave 4 is in that triangle, because most people I saw, they were going for an ABC move. I said that's also a possibility, but there's also a possibility that the 4 is in and that we could fire straight up, and that's what happened. The result is this, and as you can see, the measured move, the 100% measured move, got hit here on the dot as well at 15.556 after US closing with these earnings which got released after hours. So that was that 100% move measured from that top here to that bottom, and we take that from that breakout level, and yeah, that worked out perfectly as well. And so really nice hits on the DAX. Yeah, and since we are still on the cash session, I can tell you what I was twittering this afternoon. This potential shoulder pattern, I was twittering that somewhere here. I said it's a possibility, but I also mentioned that now a couple of times. First of all, that thing needs to be triggered. It got triggered, yes, but I also was twittering right after it hit that make or break level at 15,348. There's a lot of order flow going on at this level. We had that here this morning, and we had that here yesterday as well. And in other words, volume is actually picking up here. So there are large orders which keep getting bought at this 15,350 level. And what I did, I had some hedges, some short hedges to secure my long positions, and I took 50% out here somewhere yesterday at the 420 level, and I took some short hedges at 430 just above it where I went out, and I closed all the short hedges over here because that volume picked up once again, and I rebought the longs. And I can tell you now what my targets are. First of all, there's this bullish Wolver Wave wedge, and this morning I was also showing this looks like a completed corrective A, B, C move. He reconfirmed that bottom, so this could turn out to be a fake shoulder pattern. And yeah, if the US markets keep crushing the VIX, which is happening right now, we could break through that upper trend line, and then DAX is pretty much free to jump up all the way up here. And there's a target at 15,628 open, and that target line presently runs at 15,562. And also this morning I was posting my latest count concerning Elliott, and that was here the low. This is a 1 hour time frame, by the way. That was that low we had around 15k on Tuesday, I think, or Monday it was, the 31st of January. And I consider this now as the first leg, wave 1, wave 2, that entire move starting from the first until that top yesterday after hours. I consider this as a wave 3, and if wave 4 is set this morning or this afternoon, we can move this one over here in that nice ABC move. This could be the start of wave 5, and the main target is that 523 area. That's a 61.8 of wave 3, and it's a 138.2 of wave 1, which is 15.625. And that thing could extend all the way up. I had a max level of 15,800. There was another guy on Twitter. He said he got a max level of 850, so keep that in mind. And I also was twittering that quite a lot at the beginning of the week, that I have upside target somewhere between 15.5, which got hit yesterday already, all the way up to 15,800. So keep that in mind. That is the short-term view for the DAX. And I got another really nice chart for you concerning timing. That's my 4-hour cycle chart, and I was twittering on, I believe it was Tuesday morning. I said I consider this here now as a double bottom and as a cycle low, the blue one here, and it worked out very well. As I mentioned earlier, I took some longs here, and by the way, same thing is going to happen as things look like right now. That could be another bottom, or it's like even a triple bottom right here, and we're still in that rising phase, and I expect now this rising phase to last into the beginning of next week before there's probably a sharper decline into the 10th of Feb. And another really nice tool to use or to get timing right is the 9 count indicator. This is a daily chart, and what I just do is I compare the close of the present candle to the candle 4 days ago. And it has to be above it or below it. It depends in which direction the trend is. And you keep going until you hit the 9. And the last 9 count we had was right here on the 12th. We topped out on the 17th, and then we got that decline into the 19th. And right now, today, we are here. So you take 1, 2, 3, 4. So today has to be above 15,126. I marked that here in red. And so we need to have a close above that to put here an 8. And then Monday could be the 9th day for that count, and that could mark the top or a reversal that we are very close in that topping process. That doesn't mean we have to top out on that day. It could continue a few days after, but we are very close to that reversal. So yeah, keep an eye on that as well. And another thing I like to use are these inside candles. We got now about 50 minutes before closing the cash market in Frankfurt. And as things look like, because we had that large range yesterday from, let me just put these markers on, and I turn those off. We had that range between 15,264 and 15,520 yesterday. So as long as DAX is staying in between that range, these two levels become trigger levels to either the upside or downside. And if everything goes as planned, we see a breakout to the upside on Monday. Yeah, that's another thing. There's also the possibility that we build a pop gun. That means we are just having a lower low and a higher high than today. That's another possibility, but I keep you updated on Monday. I'm still at home on Monday. And another really useful tool is the course index, to have an eye on that as well. That is a real index. I was showing that in my last video. We hit that target line already 2 weeks ago of that falling bullish Wilbur wave wedge, and I was triggering this level right here because the course index hasn't really come that high as the performance index did. And as you can see, here's the high. We are just there from March 2022, and here are all these lows, which is the top of that red resistance zone. And this is equivalent to the DAX performance level at 15,560. And the course index is just about to get there. So yeah, once you compare these levels, probably the performance index is not giving you any major resistance from its previous highs or lows or whatever level you got there, but the course index is. So keep an eye on that as well. That is in most cases a very useful hint you can use once it comes to trading. And the last daily chart for today is the expanded flag correction I keep showing for the last, or since Christmas basically. We have an A, B, C, and that expanded flat remains valid as long as 15,885 doesn't break to the upside. That's a max extension level for this correction pattern. The RSI divergence is still present, and yeah, we just keep an eye on that. As long as DAX is reversing in here and doesn't break through there, that thing is an opportunity for a very, very sharp move to the downside. And we hop into the weeklies. This one here got actually triggered this week, my bearish Cybra. I introduced this one like 4 weeks ago, I believe, and we got that minimum requirement at 15,342, which is the 78.6 retracement of that entire move to the downside. That is point D. And as long as DAX stays within that red box, that thing could reverse at any time. I gave you already a retracement box here, because this pattern, usually the targets are the retracements between the 38.2 and the 61.8. So that is between 14,123 all the way down to 13,260. And last but not least, the inverted shoulder pattern I was giving you already a couple of weeks back, sometime here. Now here, I think, when we were about to build that right shoulder. The targets remain valid. I rather leave that uncommented because I don't really believe in it, but you can believe me one thing, there were already a lot of things in the past which I couldn't believe in, and they happened. So yeah, whoever is believing in these targets, go for it. I doubt that by now, but yeah, have that in mind. And here, this is actually the last weekly. Our cycles, as you can see, I'm going for the 19th week to top out here for this primary cycle. So this will be sometime next week. That would fit in the overall picture. And yeah, then we see how sharp or how far we go to the downside if we reverse here. And keep one thing in mind, because a lot of messages from Twitter, they reach me because I believe there are a lot of retailers short right now. I'm not, and I keep saying wait for a proper reversal bar on the daily, and that usually means you have like a 200-300 point diver to the downside, and you see most likely a long tail at the top. Yeah, I would rather wait for that instead of shorting into that rally, and then you run higher and higher. And if you don't have a escape plan before you enter a trade, you will be screwed. Yeah, that's about. Yeah, that's my little advice for today. And another quick look here on the volatility of the DAX, the VDAX. There are a lot of bullish wedges in here. You see that black dotted line. It broke out twice, came down, and yeah, broke through that lower trend line once again. There's a new wedge, this blue one here, and there is this red one, which waits actually to have that lower trend line to be hit. I was mentioning that here's, by the way, the low of 2022, which was I believe it was the all-time high in the index as well. And we have that massive RSI divergence since, yeah, sometime in November. Have that in mind. Once that thing fires here, it will be very, very abrupt and very sharp to the upside, and that usually correlates with a sharp diver in the indexes. So yeah, be careful out there. That's about DAX. I'm gonna upload this one right now, and I'm gonna make another one for the US markets later on. So all the best, have a nice weekend, and if we don't hear each other on Monday, I'm pretty sure we will, then I see you like in 3 weeks. All the best to you, and have a great weekend. Thanks. And don't forget to hit that thumb up and subscribe that channel.